Coming up on the Met Report, the Division II National Player of the Year award was given to a Roadrunner for the second straight year.
We investigate a mass poisoning of a prairie dog colony in Castle Rock.
Students are celebrating domestic violence awareness with a colorful art display in the Tivoli.
All this and more coming up on the Met Report.
Welcome to this week's edition of the Met Report. I'm Josh Cozart.
And I'm Melanie Townsend. Technical communication students from a social documentary class are producing a 20-minute multimedia documentary about whooping cranes, an endangered species native to North America. The class is tracking the bird's migration from Texas to Canada, and two of the students have already traveled to Nebraska to try and catch sight of the rare birds. The class has been working for 4 months on the project and plans to complete it in May.
Just before spring break, MSU Denver received $14.8 million in funding for the new Aerospace Engineering Science Building. Now, the Senate Joint Budget Committee has announced that the university will receive an increase in its fiscal budget for the 2015-2016 fiscal year. MSU will now have an additional 14.8% for its operating budget.
Well, you may have noticed that in the Tivoli, a colorful new project is being displayed on the Auraria campus. Numerous students have decorated t-shirts to support the ending of interpersonal violence. Each shirt has been handmade by students themselves to voice their own opinions and feelings on the subject. The shirts will be displayed throughout the Tivoli for the month of April to support Sexual Assault Awareness Month.
Students have the chance to make changes to Auraria campus during election week on April 13th. The Met Report's Erica Lloyd gets the facts on a key ballot issue.
Every day, thousands of students pass by the Auraria Campus Rec Center, but one student and Vice President of Student Government Morgan Swaney thinks it's time to give the building a helping hand. Swaney is proposing an opportunity that will separate the current campus rec fee from the student affairs fee. The rec center currently operates on a budget of about $600,025 a year compared to the national average of $1.7 million. The money will go to extended hours, updated equipment, possible locker updates, expanded outdoor adventure programs, and the expansion of healthy pursuits. Morgan goes into detail about the bill's potential effects.
If we can have, better equipment and extended hours to accommodate our students' busy schedules, if we can have bike share programs and, more opportunity for them to get out of the classroom and learn, whether it be within the facility or doing leadership programs with campus recreation, then in general, you build that sense of community, that sense of engagement, retain students, get them to graduation sooner and with a higher GPA.
If the bill passes through the Student Fee Review Board, then MSU Denver students can vote on the proposal in April. For the Met Report, Erica Lloyd.
MSU Denver's economics professor Kishore Kulkarni is recognized for his willingness to speak out about economic policies and business endeavors that will affect students this year. Kulkarni will serve as a chairman on the Indiana Journal of Economics Business 5th International Conference later this year. He also makes his debut on Channel 9 News, discussing the possible decision that the Federal Reserve's interest rates will increase, which could become a good news, bad news situation for some.
Nearly 300 faculty and staff members have contributed financial gifts that enable MSU Denver to better serve its students this year. In recognition of this generosity, President Stephen Jordan is hosting the annual Faculty and Staff Donor Reception on April 6th from 3:30 to 5 p.m. at Siggy's Cabaret in the Tivoli. For more information, contact Director of Stewardship Laura Hansen at 303-556-5140.
Spring brings a lot of changes, and with that, new beginnings. Many students are looking to shed the winter pounds and spring into the healthier lifestyle, and the options in doing so are not limited here at Auraria. Starting today, several exercise classes and workshops are being held in the PE Center, such as gentle yoga, indoor cycling, meditation, a Rich and 30 workout session, and Zumba. Fun Fit Fridays are also in effect, and this week is all about physical activity on the mat. Interested students can look up more information on the times and locations of the workshops on MSU Denver's website in the events calendar. Well, as you know, Josh, probably, Colorado is a very physically active state, and I have to say I've been kind of slacking there. I think I might actually take up that cycling
I like
class.
the gentle yoga.
All right, what's the difference between regular yoga?
I know, if it involves
yoga?
Just laying there, then I'm totally going to take that class.
I think you would be good at Zumba. I think I've seen
Zumba,
a couple
I could dance
moves.
and do, yeah.
Get it?
I could do it. I'll have to check that out.
Definitely. And well, hopefully the temperatures will kind of get a little bit better.
Yep.
Since we've seen it kind of cold and weird these past couple
It
days.
really has been. I know yesterday it started snowing. It continued through tonight. Now it's cold out and it was so warm. Here's Christina. She's going to tell us a lot more.
Thank you, guys. Let's have a look at our current conditions. Today, April 3rd, we have a low of 42. We have east-southeast winds at 7 miles per hour with a high of 52. And now let's take a look at our hour-by-hour forecast. We're going to be at 44 degrees by 2 p.m., 48 degrees by 4 p.m., and we're going to reach a high of 50 degrees by 6 p.m. And now let's take a look at our Denver averages. We have a high of 61 degrees and a low of 34 for April. Our average snowfall is 6.8 inches. And we had a record high of 92 degrees in 1992. And now let's take a look at tomorrow's weather. For tomorrow, we're going to have a high of 68 degrees. It's going to be very sunny, so make sure that you get out. We're going to have east winds at 10 miles per hour with a low of 37. Coming up, I'm going to have our extended 5-day forecast. Back to you guys.
All right, thank you so much, Christina. Well, it looks like we're going to get right back up there. I think this cold weather is going to be well out of the way. So maybe next week. You want to join me for a little spin class?
Maybe. Outside.
Sounds
we can do it.
good. All right, I'll see you there. Well, coming up after the break.
New details emerge in the German wings crash about the co-pilot's possible intentions.
And coming up later in sports, our softball squad came into last weekend second place in the RMAC. Could they hold on? We'll be right back.
Hey Roadrunners, my name is Mario Sinelli, Chief Editor of the Metropolitan, our school's weekly, student-run newspaper. And this is what we do. Check us out for all the latest in Roadrunner sports, all the latest in entertainment and reviews, all the latest in MSU Denver news and other local happenings. And we're always looking for new writers, photographers, and copy editors. So if you're interested in being part of the staff, visit Tivoli Room 313. The Metropolitan is the student voice of MSU Denver. Let your voice be heard.
Welcome back. 2 weeks ago, as part of a development project, prairie dogs are no longer welcome in Castle Rock.
John Madden's been investigating this story for us for a few days now. John, is this harmful to people?
Yeah, people should definitely be concerned because it not only affected the prairie dogs, but it also affected other local wildlife as well. And as I found out, it harms some people. I have to warn you, some of these images may be disturbing.
166 acres of land around the outlets of Castle Rock is currently undergoing a $177 million makeover called the Promenade Mall, which will bring about new restaurants, fitness centers, and retail stores to the area. Standing in the way of that plan, however, was one of the largest prairie dog colonies on the Front Range.
I always had a particular concern for this colony here because it was so large.
Deanna Meyer and her group of prairie dog advocates tried to relocate the colony. Despite PETA getting involved, holding town council meetings,
and every single last remaining colony should be saved.
Sending pleas to the landowners, Alberta Development Partners, and staging protests.
Save the wildlife, stop the mall!
Poison was eventually poured down their burrows and the colony was bulldozed over to the outrage of many.
Shame on you!
Despite the poisoning, some prairie dogs managed to survive and can still be seen roaming the construction site. However, it wasn't just prairie dogs that were affected by the poisoning.
They continued last week to go through with poisoning them with fumitoxin.
Fumitoxin causes the animal to bleed to death and can take up to 72 hours for them to die. Along with prairie dogs, dead birds and dying rabbits were also found at the scene.
This bunny's been laying here convulsing.
Even protesters said they got sick from the poison.
We've had several people who have been in the hospital from it.
On the warning label for fumitoxin, it states the poison can kill if inhaled. However, protesters around the area were not discouraged from being up close to the poison.
100% evil.
Fumitoxin has even led to human fatalities in other cases after it was used to kill burrowing rodents.
It's not the best ethical way of dealing with any prairie dog colony that's in danger from development.
I reached out to the Castle Rock City Council and they had the following statement, quote, "When it comes to wildlife and development, the town's authority is limited to protecting only federally listed threatened and endangered species as defined in the town code," end quote. I also reached out to the land developers Alberta Development Partners. They did not return my emails or phone calls. The extermination company Animal Pest Control Specialists Incorporated also did not return my phone calls. So if you go around the Castle Rock area, around the outlets, there's a ton of construction going on. So the mall is being developed at this point.
Wow, unbelievable. Well, I've witnessed something similar firsthand over by where I live. There used to be a lot of prairie dogs, and unfortunately they are all gone because there's a new town center there and a whole bunch of shopping malls. It's very unfortunate, and I really hope that we get this problem solved.
Sad for the prairie dogs, and then even sadder that's starting to affect people as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, John, for the update. Appreciate it. Denver's mayor has added his name to the list of cities that will boycott Indiana. Mayor Michael Hancock has told city employees they can't use the public funds to travel to Indiana. In the wake of Indiana's governor signing the Religious Freedom Restoration Act, mayors of several other cities have done the same. The Indiana law has created a national gay controversy. Gay and lesbians groups say they could face discrimination from the new law if business owners feel the religious freedoms are being violated. Indiana's governor says the bill does not allow discrimination and says he is working to clarify and, quote, fix the law.
New details emerge about the tragic crash of a Germanwings flight in the Alps last week. It is said that the plane's pilot had left the cabin to use the restroom, and when he had returned to the cabin, the door was locked from the inside. The co-pilot then dived the plane into the side of the Alps, killing himself and the other 150 people on board. It turned out that the co-pilot had been battling depression and refused to listen to his doctors advising him not to work that day. It was just released that the co-pilot had been researching methods of suicide on his tablet several days prior to the crash. An investigation of his tablet also showed that the researched security measures for the cockpit door. The airlines have condemned that the incident as an act of suicide, but are wondering if this was more than just suicide.
A Colorado state representative is disciplined for a remark he made regarding the recent stabbing in Longmont. Following the attack of Michelle Wilkins and her unborn child, Colorado Spring Representative Gordon Klingenschmidt said on YouTube, quote, "This is the curse of God upon America for our sin of not protecting innocent children in the womb." Many people denounced his statement, and House Republicans have disciplined him. He will now be off of the Environment, Insurance, and House Health Committee. The Wilkins family has been given over $100,000 to help with the recovery, but they refused to take a $1,000 donation from Klingenschmidt.
After an 8-year-long battle, the murder conviction of Amanda Knox has been overturned. In 2007, Knox was studying abroad in Italy when she was accused of stabbing to death her British roommate, Meredith Kircher. She spent almost 4 years in prison in Italy during the initial trial, until an appeal trial freed her in 2011 and she returned to the U.S. The Italian Supreme Court ordered the appeal trial to be reheard, and in 2014 she was found guilty, and she was sentenced to 28 years in prison. Knox is now free and her trial is over, as drug dealer Rudy Guede was sentenced to 16 years for death of Kircher after DNA evidence was discovered at the crime scene.
Lilies will be a common gift this Easter Sunday, but if you have a family feline, you may want to find a different Easter decoration. It may come as a surprise, but all parts of lilies are extremely poisonous to cats, including the stem, leaves, petals, stamens, and pollen. Even the slightest exposure can be fatal to felines, whether they chew on the lily leaves or just get pollen on their hair coat or whiskers. If you suspect that your cat has been in contact with these lilies this Easter, get them to your local vet as soon as possible. Cats who are treated within 18 hours of exposure normally recover.
Well, a new tourist attraction comes to the beautiful city of Castle Rock, Colorado. On March 27th, Colorado welcomed the new 10-station zipline course for all thrill seekers spending time in Colorado. The course gives the riders a unique bird's-eye view of Philip S. Miller Park and lasts for 3 hours, crossing the Colorado Plains. Tickets range from about $90 to $100 a person, and participants must weigh from 70 to 250 pounds. Construction is still underway in order to make the surroundings more tourist and family friendly. An additional Head Rush Epic Tour adventure will be added to the attraction this May.
Next Saturday, April 11th, is the highly anticipated Breckenridge Spring Beer Festival. Volunteer spots are still available, and all volunteers receive even a t-shirt, general admission, and the chance to purchase a $15 tasting mug. The Met Report will follow up on this event in next week's show. However, if you would like to volunteer at this year's Breck Beer Fest, please sign up at alwaysmountaintime.com. Josh, that definitely sounds like a cool event.
It certainly
beer
does.
Fest. I know my better half is a bit of a beer connoisseur.
Yeah,
so
I could see him liking that event.
Sure, he'll be up there probably volunteering. And also that new thing in Castle Rock.
I know,
awesome.
that seems really cool.
I want to zip line so bad. It's on my bucket list.
I have been zip lining. It's really fun. So
really?
I've done it in the mountains, so it kind of be interesting to see what cool, unique things they do out in the kind of eastern part.
In Castle Rock, yeah. It's a different location, but you know what? It looks fun. And I bet it'll be nice with this weekend's weather, hopefully.
Yes.
Since the temperatures are going to be a little bit back up. But
fingers crossed.
Exactly. Well, Christina, please give us an update on the national weather forecast.
Thank you for joining us for weather. Let's take a look at Saturday's local forecast. Denver, we have a high of 68 degrees with a low of 37. DIA is going to be 66. In Boulder, we have a high of 64 degrees, Grand Junction 71, and Lamar is going to be 73 degrees with a low of 35. Let's take a look at Sunday's forecast. Denver is going to be very gorgeous with a high of 75 degrees and a low of 44. DIA is 74 with a low of 42. Boulder is going to be 69 with a low of 41. Grand Junction 74 degrees. And Lamar tops us out at a whopping 83 degrees with a low of 47. And now for our national weather for Saturday. For Saturday, we see a low pressure system moving in from west coast. So we're going to have a couple of cooler temperatures in the high country. And then, of course, in the Mississippi Plain, we're going to have still a couple of rain showers because of that low pressure system that's kind of trying to pass from the east coast. And now let's take a look at Sunday's national forecast. We still have that pressure system moving in, the low pressure system from the west coast. Denver is going to stay relatively dry. In Texas, there's a few rain showers. And then, of course, that low pressure system is going to continue to move past the east coast. And now for the 5-day extended forecast. Monday, it's going to be 76 degrees. It's going to be a very gorgeous day. Wednesday is 58 with some rain showers and 68 degrees on Friday. Thank goodness, you guys. We're finally going to have some rain for Wednesday and Thursday. I'm so happy about that. We need a little bit of moisture because California is a little dry. So
Yeah.
It's so weird how, like, some days in Colorado there's sun and the birds are singing, and one day it's like rain and snow. And
Colorado likes to be a little active with its weather. But
and I mean, that's typical spring in Colorado. I mean, you got to have the snowstorms thrown in there and the rain showers.
Well, it should make it for a beautiful summer. So.
Absolutely.
Well, April showers bring May flowers, right?
Or snow showers.
Yeah. Don't touch that remote.
Because entertainment is next.